We are back inside of Helldivers, and something told me to hold off for about an hour this morning before posting this video, and that patience has now paid off because we have a brand new set of dispatches direct from Helldivers HQ just in time for the weekend, along with a new kill count major order. Welcome to the channel, it's LtBuzzLitebeer, and there's so much to touch on today, including the past and new major orders, recent comments from the CEO and dev team, the Warbond, and how that's all going down, along with an interesting find over on the Helldiver Reddit. And stay tuned for that one. The channel smashed through 225,000 subscribers, and it just keeps on trucking, which is down to you and your awesome support for my content. In case you haven't done so already, remember to hit subscribe and to ring that notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts and bring on the latest orders from Helldivers HQ. Alright, so something told me to grab some clips earlier this morning before the mutant super colony major order expired, and by the way, this footage was taken with 41 minutes to go in that order, and despite a furious last surge with some decent amount of divers over there on Akamar 4, we definitely failed that major order, and so goes the Galactic War. Now this one looked doomed from the start, and I said as much in yesterday's video, but I think we were all just a little battle weary from this past weekend's vicious Sony assault, and it was set up during the middle of the week when our Helldiver forces are always at their lowest. Anyways, we've got a new major order I think you're gonna like, and before we take a look at that, today's daily order for 15 medals is to extract with 10 common samples. And by the way, don't worry if you can't get all 10 out at once. Just dive back in, as the order is cumulative and doesn't require that all of them leave at once. Now, over to the breaking news. Despite the fact that we failed the previous major order, but we now have a new task ahead of us, divers, along with some new intel from Helldivers HQ. First up is that failure notice. It says, we have failed to contain all of the outbreaks from the Meridian super colony. Terminids now infest more of our planets, spawning yet more agents of tyranny. Again, you've got to love how these propaganda broadcasts really embrace the Helldivers' fight for freedom and democracy. Evacuation orders have been issued for all nearby planets. Citizens flee their homes with only their clothes and family flags, because, of course, they couldn't leave behind their Super Earth flags. This is unlikely to be the last of these outbreaks. They must be contained until the Ministry of Science finds a way to combat the super colony. Until then, our citizens will live in constant jeopardy. Alongside this failure notice, we also now have 3 new dispatches that all dropped at once, with the first being a reduced summary of the expanded order I just read through. The new major order doesn't have a name, but here it is. It says, the Helldivers are ordered to conduct a forceful, large-scale decommissioning of Automaton forces. The recovered scrap of dismantled bots will then be put towards construction of the MD-17 anti-tank mines. Alright, so we were wondering when this new stratagem might roll back around, as last time it was up for grabs. The community just immediately went straight for the airburst launcher. But here it is. It's part of this new major order. There's also a third new dispatch, which I'm not going to read through again, but it is titled Contractor Message, and it is essentially the propaganda version of the patch note fixes when we learned that last time we did one of these kill count major orders, it was bugged, because of course it was, and it turns out that instead of counting the entire squad's total kills once, the game was counting the total squad kills and then multiplying it by the number of squad members. And that's probably how we blitzed through that last kill 2 billion bugs major order in just over 13 hours, when it was set up to last for days. Now, with the new kill counter apparently being sorted out, we have 5 days to complete this major order, and since we now have commas added to the game, it makes it easier to read, but it says, kill 2 billion bots. And this is not tied to any specific automaton planets, just to kill bots. 2 billion of them in the next 5-ish days. Yesterday's Polar Patriots Warbond drop. Yeah, we might as well move on to talk about that. This humorous Reddit post kind of spells it out very nicely, and it was definitely Polarizing. And I get it. For us players, expectations were high, and from what I'm seeing, this latest offering is being received with tepid enthusiasm. It's not terrible, it's not the best, it's just firmly planted in the average category. Most of the criticism is squarely pointed at the weapons, and the tenderizer seems to be Helldiver public enemy number 1, with this Reddit post earning over 17,000 upvotes. And no, this is not a mistake. The tenderizer has the same damage, less ammo capacity, slightly less recoil, and less fire rate than the very first assault rifle you ever unlock in the game, the Liberator. It is, by all measurements, a lesser Liberator, just with slightly better accuracy. Even the weapon's color seems to have been botched at launch, as it was black and gray in the trailer, and then launched as dark earth and gray. A fact that was confirmed by Team Lando, Arrowhead senior artist, although it is apparently already fixed and will go live sometime in the near future. There's also the Purifier, which is just not very powerful or popular. And then there is the goated SMG, the Pummeler, which, considering how strong and useful it currently is, has many players concerned about it hitting the nerf chopping block sooner than later. I've also seen open discussion threads about the armors, which I happen to like the designs. I think they look good. But the present attention being given to these armor sets is their lack of anything new to do with the passive talents. Even the armor descriptions have been a bit wonky, saying that a specific piece of armor is built to be stealthy, and then applying the servo-assisted passive talent instead of a talent that would promote stealth. Now, I happen to like using the new Impact Incendiary and the new Motivational Shocks booster. I mean, they seem to add some much-needed utility to my Helldive loadouts, but I've also seen these new gear items receive mixed results from the community. Any way you slice it, that community is starting to push Arrowhead for more powerful primaries, more variants with the gear set passives, more old weapons receiving a much-needed buff and balance pass to open up additional options for loadouts, which seems to be in contrast with Alexis, the game's balance dev, or at least one of them, because we tend to see this nerf-first mentality when it comes to weapon balancing, in direct contrast with what the player base wants, which is to feel powerful and to keep the game fun. But, and there is a but here, there seems to be a ray of hope coming in from the CEO himself, Johan, who has been very proactive in engaging the community on the issues of game balance, weapon design, technical state, and a whole range of other topics. He is aware that the community are not enjoying this nerf-first, take-the-fun-out-of-shooting mentality, and has said as much when responding to community concerns. Again, I've said this so many times in previous Helldivers videos, but I'm going to say it again here. I enjoy the blazes out of playing Helldivers because it is fun. There's no heavy mental gymnastics here. There's no build crafting, no RNG. You don't have to overthink and analyze every minute detail of your build. Just equip what you want and do some tenderizing on whatever planet you feel like it. But when the shooting goes from awesome to just average, that's when the fun starts to suffer, which translates into the overall game starts to suffer. Again, I'm not dunking here on Helldivers. I love to play it. I think that much is evident. And I think it offers up a really unique alternative to the standard live service model. But there are definitely a few areas that need some serious tweaking, with weapon balance and technical state topping that list. Let's talk Sony, PlayStation, and everything currently going down with that nightmare. And I said this in a recent upload, but nothing has technically changed in terms of the game disclosures, or those 177 countries that were previously delisted on Steam from purchasing the game due to the fact that PSN does not exist in their region. Now, the most recent response from Johan on this matter was basically that he had no information concerning that current region lock, as it took a massive effort just to get the account linking requirements removed. And again, on this matter, we still just have PlayStation's public statement to go on, along with reassurances from the dev team. Now, we saw Sony, or Steam, it's still unclear which, delist this game in the blink of an eye, but now, almost a full week later, that restriction has still not been removed, a fact reinforced by Pirate Software with this tweet. Now, I suspected as much, and I voiced my suspicions in the past that Sony would not take kindly to having their teeth kicked in with those review bombs. They're used to getting their way, and basically, until this is done and the changes can be seen and verified, nothing is finished. The thought now is that Sony may have posted that retraction letter to get the Helldiver PC community to then begin reversing their negative reviews while playing the corporate slow game, hoping to ride out the situation and using this country restriction to possibly force Arrowhead back to the negotiations table and get them to reintroduce those PSN login requirements. Now, this is a huge developing story, and fingers crossed, but I think you know where I stand on Sony. Did they lie to us? Well, at this point, it is still firmly planted in the totally possible category. Alright, over to a really interesting find over on the Helldiver Reddit, and this one spells out some recent enemy patrol spawn testing done by Gurganation. Hopefully I didn't butcher that name, sorry if I did, who had previously posted a comprehensive guide as to how enemy patrols worked, so this is prior to those recent spawn rate changes. TLDR here is that through recent testing, according to Gurganation, and their knowledge of spawns and how they worked previously, it looks as though all spawn rates are now set to spawn as if the squad is full with 4 members. It doesn't matter if you're solo, duo, or in a trio, you're going to see the full 100% spawn rates on those enemy patrols, which, if you remember, was recently changed in a previous patch to up the spawn rates on higher difficulties for solo divers and to scale with the amount of squad members that are planetside. It was stated that in the past, solo divers were seeing 1/6 the amount of enemy patrols as a full party, and Arrowhead wanted that number to sit at 1/4. But again, according to this post and their linked video, which I'll include in the video description, this testing is showing that no matter the party size, everyone is now seeing greatly increased spawn rates. I think there is more to this that meets the eye, and more than I can see on this video, such as party proximity and how that affects spawn attempts by the game, but still, from what I hear, solo Helldives are seeing a ton more enemies roaming the Badlands. Interesting research indeed, right? And I wouldn't know anything but maximum spawnage, as I almost always dive into Helldive in a full party. But if you're seeing the same, let me know in the comment section below. Remember to hit subscribe and to ring that notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts on my socials, including an open invite link to my fast-growing Helldivers Discord, can be found in the video description below. Shout out to the nearly 226,000 of you awesome ladies and gentlemen for taking the time to hit subscribe and for sticking with me and supporting my channel. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer signing off.